Y'all, that's how you do a Love is Blind reunion. That is how you do it. Welcome back, y'all, to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here on my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows, y'all. This video tonight, we got to talk about Netflix's hit series, Love is Blind. This is season 6, the reunion, y'all. We are at the end of the road with Love is Blind finally. It's been a good journey with Love is Blind this season. Definitely was a good season. Reunion was good. Okay, before we get into it though, please do not hesitate to hit that thumbs up button, y'all. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post bell notifications so you can be updated when I upload new videos. Make sure you're watching the videos to the end. Share the video where you like to share your content. And comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Y'all, people was texting me from work and it's almost 10 o'clock at night. Now I'm supposed to be going to bed. I should have been in the bed, but I said I gotta come talk to y'all right now about this video. I gotta come talk to y'all right now. Anyway, let's get into the episode. Now we may go out of order because you know we do over here, but we're gonna talk about all the highlights of it. It was a lot. First of all, it was an hour and 37 minutes. I didn't know it was gonna be that long. Not that they needed to split up in two parts, but it was a lot. But I will tell you, they didn't leave any meat on the bones. There's only one segment where I wish we would have gotten into it more, which was Kenneth and Britney, but everything else, good. First of all, Nick and Vanessa, y'all redeemed yourself. Y'all definitely redeemed yourself as hosts. I don't know if it was y'all, the internet, the production, and the Netflix people said y'all better get in their asses, but y'all got into it. Y'all didn't leave nothing on the table. You could tell they kind of didn't want to do it, but they knew they had to do it because every time Vanessa had to get on somebody, she'd be like, "Hey, Chelsea." Hey Jessica, hey girl. Nick was going in. Okay, Nick wasn't playing no games. I said, yes, finally y'all ask the questions we want y'all to ask. Finally, y'all hold the people accountable. And they brought us into the reunion. They had the social media streets all up and through there. So let's talk about it. So another interesting part of this particular reunion, which is something they don't usually do, is that they hosted the reunion on the Love Is Blind set, and they had a live studio audience. I don't remember them having a live studio audience before, but if they did, let me know in the comments. I don't remember that. So they had a live studio audience, and then they did the reunion at the set of the pod. So first we start off the reunion with Nick and Vanessa and the pods talking to each other. Nick, now they was throwing jabs at all the people from the past episodes too, because Nick was like, tell me this, if we were at a festival, can I put you on my shoulders? You know, shout out to Shake. Is that his name? Or is that his name? Was his name Shake? Y'all know I'm talking about, the Indian dude from Chicago. That was asking homegirl, could he put her on his shoulder? So anyway, and so then she says she's wearing her reunion dress, and they're talking about the pods. She's trying to change her voice. And then they go peeking other pods. They pick out the ladies. They pick out the men. They also have special guests on this particular episode. So they brought in some Love Is Blind alumni. As you can see behind me, we see Brennan and Alexa. We see Gianni and her new man Blake. We also see, I forgot who that other couple is back there, but they back there. Anyway, I think it might have been Matt and Colleen. I don't know. Now, first of all, when I see Matt and Colleen, I said, why are y'all still together? I remember when I did my Love Is Blind reviews on them, and I remember telling Colleen she was in danger. And the fact that they are still together, now I didn't remember they wasn't there. I don't remember them saying yes, but I guess they did. And they decided not to live together. I vaguely remember that, but I was like, why are y'all still together? But I guess they didn't work it out, y'all. So Nick and Vanessa also ran into each other because they always wanted to do that as well. So they also have some other, alumni back there as well. Micah's up there. What's the boy? Izzy's. I was like, why is Izzy here? Micah didn't need to be there either. And we find out later on that Micah and Izzy and Jessica are going to be on the Perfect Match, which is the show that Nick hosts, I believe. Nick and Vanessa live in Hawaii now. We had Chelsea and Kwame were there, Brett and Tiffany, who I love, Brett and Tiffany. Cameron and Lauren were not there for some reason. We also got to look at Zach and Bliss's baby shower because they're having a baby. Gianni, I believe Gianni's from season 1, if I'm not mistaken. Gianni looked totally different to me. I almost didn't recognize her. But she got her new man. She pregnant. They about to have she has her partner. They about to have a baby. I think a boy. They said anyway. Um, and yeah, Gianni just looks different to me now. That threw me for a loop. Alexis is always also pregnant. And they got into that as well. They were gonna try IVF, but then she ended up getting pregnant. They're looking for a house. And then yeah, and then Bliss's pregnancy as well. They talked about the baby shower. All right. So they get everything started. They bring out the cast from this season. Laura is not there, but we do get to talk to her via Zoom or a Skype call or a FaceTime. She's in Spain for work. She said work comes first. All right. So Nick and Vanessa also said that, there's proof that this process does work because they have 11 couples have made it to the altar and said I do, but only 9 have remained together. And at first I was like, 9? I was like, now they putting 20 on 10 with that 9. But then, and I said I told, shout out to Miss Kira Speaks. Follow her on YouTube. She has a great channel. She does some great, lot of great Saturday Night Live. She also does Love is Blind as well. And a couple of other shows I do review also. So anyway, I was telling her like 9, that seemed a little high. So she said she's gonna figure it out before she do her review. Make sure y'all check out her review. Miss Kara Speaks. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. Anyway, so I was like, girl, I'm too lazy to figure out how many. But then, I had to clean my bathroom. So I was like, let me count. I had time. I was like, let me count. So I was counting out the seasons and the couples in my head, and they right. It is about 9. There's a couple people I couldn't remember, but I could picture their faces, but they right. It's 9. I couldn't believe it, but it's 9 couples. Could y'all believe that? Anyway. All right. So Nick and Vanessa said to ask AD to pick a number between 1 and 4. She says she picks 4, and they're like, that's been taken already. I'll tell you, they was jabbing. They were jabbing. So they also looked back at their couple that did make it from this season, which was Johnny and Amy. And Johnny and Amy said their families are still remaining close. The dads call each other all the time. They went with Amy's Spain family to was it Barcelona or France, I believe it was. And then they spent Christmas all together in Charlotte. They did like a JCPenney photo shoot. They had Johnny's hair twisted up. They showed us a year look back of their marriage, and they're doing good. Okay. And while we on Johnny and Amy, just so that I don't have to keep, bouncing back around and all that. Later on, they did have a segment where they talked about their whole thing about having a baby and all that. And they asked, because somebody from the audience, so the people in the audience, the alumni, had to ask questions from social media that people had that, the questions we was asking on Twitter and stuff or X. So, and they asked, are condoms never an option? So Johnny said, yes, they were. And he really didn't know a lot about birth control because that's not something he had to be responsible for because he's a man. So they looked into the bisectomy thing. They did the birth control thing, researched that. Amy was like, respectfully, you didn't know too much about it, Johnny. So, I had to educate you. And they both did a lot of research and they agreed upon a method, whatever method that's going to work for them. But Amy said that, she wasn't forced to get on any birth control or they would be sitting in different sides of the sofa right now. And they figured it out. I'm pretty sure they didn't have sex, y'all. And they're just not telling us. Okay, that's what it is. But I do like Johnny and Amy. I really do love their relationship. They're not where Brett and Tiffany is for me in my heart, but you could see that their love is really genuine. You could feel the love from the wedding. So I appreciate that about them for sure. So anyway, they didn't really have a lot, y'all. They really didn't. Yeah. So anywho, I wish they would have talked to Amy about why she made it like her dad was gonna be so hard on Johnny, but they didn't really get into that. All right. So then they talking to different people on the sofa, whatever. And so they asked Jeremy, they get to Jeremy, because the Jeremy, Sue Ann, aka Sarah Ann, and Laura thing was like the big chunk of the beginning, right? So somehow they got to Jeremy. And Jeremy, they're like, okay, speaking of Hawaii, because Nick say, they live in Hawaii now. Speaking of Hawaii, Jeremy, you in your Hawaiian shirt. He said you're going to just go full out in his Hawaiian shirt. So they talk about the love triangle he was in with Laura and Sue Ann. They ask him if he's dating anyone now. He said, yes, he's currently seeing somebody. So they say, yes, let's bring out Jeremy's current girlfriend. So I said, they're going to bring out, I feel like I sneeze, y'all. I said, they gonna bring out Jeremy. Y'all know I call him Jeremy. They gonna bring out his current girlfriend. I was like, what? So then guess who came out, y'all? Our girl Sue Ann, aka Sarah Ann. I call Sarah Ann Sue Ann. Okay, I don't like Sue Ann. I'm sorry, I don't like Sarah Ann. And it don't have nothing to even do with Laura because I can care less. Okay, I mean that whole situation was messed up. The thing I don't like about her is just the way she just go on and on and on to hear herself talk. She don't make sense. She just so many things. Anyway, so Sarah Ann came out. And so we find out that Jeremy and Sarah Ann have been together for a good year now, dating. And Sarah Ann also moved in with Jeremy. And Nick exposes how, Jeremy had Laura on the show. He also had Sue Ann, and then he also had a girl he was engaged to and living with. And so Jeremy tried to clear that up and said that he broke up with that girl before he got on the show. And that's why he said he sold his house and cut ties and he was doing his own thing. And then he came on the show. Sure. Now, one thing I'll say y'all did well, Nick and Vanessa, y'all said y'all gonna expose what everybody said in the social media streets. That's how you do a reunion, okay? That's how you do it. Y'all get in their props because they didn't sucked all this time, but they finally showed up to work. Everybody showed up to work tonight. See, that's the kind of reunion we like to see. Anyway, y'all, this hair can get in my eye. So Laura, they said Laura, they got, she pinned her location and they found her in Spain for work. She looked very good on camera. She was dressed up. She said Jeremy ain't gonna catch her slipping. So then they talked about their whole situation between Laura, Jeremy, Sarah Ann, and the whole thing. So Vanessa's like, okay, but Jeremy, why did you lie? If Laura had your location pinned, like, why did you lie about it? And he said he did. He's trying to backpedal and pee pop and do all this stuff. And he said he didn't lie. And he said he just he didn't think, about it after he went to Sarah Ann's house. And Laura's like, well, they both lying because they both been saying the same story that they both stayed in that parking lot when he went to her house. Laura was like, yeah, luckily I happened to wake up and look at his location, or he would have came home and told me a bold-faced lie. And so then Jeremy tried to say, no, when I came home, I went upstairs, I saw you sleeping, so I stayed downstairs and I waited for you to wake up, and then I ran up there to tell you what happened right away. Laura's like, no. I saw your location, so I stayed up in the living room and waited for you. I should have been sitting on the porch. So then Jeremy's like, no, what you're not just gonna do. I could take responsibility for what I did, but you're not gonna spin the story. And I'm like, Jeremy, what the freak do it matter how it went if she stayed up and waited for you or not? She saw you, she caught you in a lie. So I'm like, Jeremy, I don't need to play these games of semantics with you. Like, what are you saying? It's irrelevant. It's really irrelevant. He was pissing me off. So anyway, and he looked a fool, right? And so both ladies did confirm his story about, he did tell the ladies in the pods about him having the ex fiance or whatever. So anywho, I guess we believe it, right? And so then they asked Sarah Ann, like, girl, don't you think that was a little weird? You sending his text and he was already engaged to Laura. And she was like, yes, I apologize. I shouldn't have done that. But Laura, when Laura was getting into Jeremy, let me back up, because when Laura was getting into Jeremy, Sue Ann was trying to pipe up and defend his honor. And I was like, girl, why are you talking? So then Jessica got into it with her, and they both, Laura and Jessica, told Sue Ann that she is not a girl's girl, okay? And so then they talked about the conversation AD had with Sue Ann on the porch, and AD was like, whatever she's saying, it don't really matter because look, she still ended up with Jeremy, so it's really irrelevant. I said, is. So Laura's like, you know what? Sue Ann tried to explain her situation, her side of the story. And then they played a clip from, I never before seen clip from the beach day, late day, whatever they had, late day. And we get this long conversation between, now some of the scenes went on a bit long for me. Some of the conversations that got dragged out a little bit, like the conversation with Jessica and Jimmy went on a little too long for me. But anyway, so they played a scene between Chelsea and Laura, right? And how Sue Ann and Laura, sorry. Sue Ann is saying, "Girl, just let me have it. You could go off of me because I'm sorry. I shouldn't have sent the text, and I need to hear from your perspective." And she's like, "I was in the real world, and you guys are still, on the show, and I was in my feelings, and I just wanted to express how I felt, and that's why I saw them. You sent the message, and I know you sent it because you were with him." And so Laura's like, "No, I get all that. Like, it's okay." She's like, "But I didn't like that you sent the DM, and that was messed up at the end of the day. Like, he proposed to me, not you. So I'm more mad at him than I am at you." And so basically, it looks like, Suanne, you're giving, I'm remorseful right here in this moment with Laura, but then you on this reunion talking big and bad, like, "Oh, well, Jeremy, he was not gonna, he was still liking me," and blah blah. Like, girl, bye, 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 bye. And then, when Jessica and Suanne got to it, Jessica cleared her. She was like, "Okay, first of all, just because you loud and you talking don't mean you something on the show. Like, you need, can I?" She was like, "Can I speak?" Okay. So she was going off. So anyway, Jeremy finally, well, first of all, Laura was like, "This is my real life. Like, my 96-year-old grandma caught a flight for the wedding. Then the next day, me and Jeremy breaking up because he over here fooling around with Sue Ann." So they asked Sue Ann and Jeremy, like, "Did y'all kiss the night y'all met up?" They said no. They asked everybody else, like, "Do y'all think they was just talking to 5 in the morning?" Chelsea's like, "No, don't think so." And then they asked, like, Suanne, it don't seem like nobody really your friend in the group, girl. Like, what's up? And she's like, "No, everybody's shutting me out of the group text and all this stuff." And they were like, "Girl, didn't nobody like try to hate on you? Nobody was mean to you. Like, girl, bye." And Chelsea was like, "Well, one thing, she tried to unfriend all of us at the lake house, but still be friends with our fiancés on Instagram. And we wasn't feeling that." Okay. I was like, "Ooh, child, I believe every word of it." Okay, I believe every word of it. So anyway, they asked had they seen Jeremy. So Chelsea said she's seen Jeremy twice. And so Jeremy was like, "No, it's only been once." Chelsea was like, "No, it's twice." And she's like, "Every time I didn't seen them, they didn't been broken up." And so then she was like, "Yeah, every time I see you, you and Sue Ann breaking up, making up." So then they was like, "Wait, are y'all together? Like, what's good?" So then Jeremy finally admitted and said, "Yeah, we have broken up a couple times. We were in a relationship. We go through real things. We have real life happening and all this stuff." So then I'm like, "Okay, Jeremy, I don't see it for Jeremy and Sue Ann. It has nothing to do with Laura and that whole situation. I don't see them working out." He's giving very much, "I'm here for a good time, not a long time." Okay. So then they call Sue Ann about making her video saying that we entertain y'all, we're here for entertainment, like, that we did our job. And so they were like, "Why would you say that? Like, it's giving, you think you're putting on a show, or you think this is not for real, you think you're doing this for entertainment." Like, that's the issue, is like, these people come on here with their real lives and they real love and their real future ahead, and you think you over here playing. So then she was like, "No, I know it's real, but I was getting so much hate on the internet, and to be real honest, like, I just did it for the entertainment of my, like, basically to put out her own content, because she's a content creator, child." So then she said, "But no, this is my real life too." And they didn't show, like, me and the conversation that me and Jeremy had, our loving conversations and the things we had going on. And Vanessa was like, "Yeah, because Laura and Jeremy are the ones that got engaged, so we're watching their love story." Like, hello. So then eventually Jeremy and Suanne did take accountability. And then they also, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but they also talked about Suanne posting a video of herself in Jeremy's apartment. And they was like, "Girl, like, you feel you spoiling the show down there because you posted a video of you at Jeremy's apartment, and everybody knew what happened." So she's like, "I honestly didn't think, like, the internet was that powerful and people would really be on that level." And they're like, "Yeah, the internet be exposing people. The internet catching everything. Okay, they are catching every single thing." So anyway, like I said, Sue Ann and Jeremy did apologize, and Laura's like, "Thank you. This is all I wanted, was some accountability." And Vanessa said, "It's okay that you guys got together, but it could have been done a little bit, more respectfully." Now, it's basically what everybody was saying, right? So then there's, like, speaking of the social media of it all, they brought out Trevor, and they talked. Now Trevor, I don't know where he was coming or going, but I don't know if he knew he came for. But they destroyed Trevor. They destroyed him. So they was like, "Yeah, Trevor, speaking of, one of the biggest scandals on the internet we had this season was when you actually had a girlfriend that before you came on the pods, and then you hit her up as soon as you got out the pods. And so then they were like, yeah, you even text her. And we got the text messages to prove it. So then, y'all, they put the text messages on the screen. And Nick and Vanessa read the text messages word for word. Y'all, I was gagged at that part. I was like, y'all didn't do Trevor like that. And Vanessa was saying when he first came on the show, everybody was like, protect Trevor on all costs. Everybody was a Trevor fan. I was a Trevor fan too. Then we did find out he had the girl on the side, right? And I guess when he calling her pumpkin and stuff and telling her, don't worry about that. I said on the show, this is not for real. This is not real life. This is for play. He said he loved her and he want to marry her. When he got out the pods, he said all that, right? So they was like, well, why is you doing that? Nick was really getting to him. Trevor was like, he's just sitting there quiet and looking. And while the camera was zoomed in on him, tough. I said, y'all wrong for this. Y'all wrong for this. So they was zoomed in on him real tough, right? And so Trevor's like, I had all this stuff prepared to say, but I don't even know what I'm about to say at this point. And so then he was like, first of all, me and the girl, I don't think they said her name. He's like, first of all, me and the girl, we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend like that. So, but Nick was like, but you telling her you love her, so obviously you care about her. So what's the deal? And then he's like, yeah, I wasn't trying to really be with her like that. And I already told her I'm going on the show. And I told her if I find somebody else there, like I'm going to be with them. I'm not going to be with her. And they're like, well, why are you asking her to marry you? And he's like, no, but I really came on the show for love for real. And they're like, well, did you come on the show? It's giving like you came on to advance your career. He's like, no, what career? Like what career? And they're like, I don't know. You tell us. And so, Nick was like, you even had somebody here that really would have picked you. He's like, Chelsea, I'm gonna call you out right now. Like it was close for you to pick him. And so Chelsea said, I'm not here to like bash you anymore. Like she said, I kept feeling like there was something, not right. And she's like, now I got, my closure that I needed. Like she just got her answer, right? And so basically Trevor was saying, like, I didn't come on here to hurt you. Like, I really did love you. Like, I would have been with you. And Chelsea was like, okay, well, was she been lingering in the background if you would have chose me or if I would have chose you? And he was like, no, I didn't, she knows I didn't want to be with her. So then Britney was like, we come on here. We really trying to find love. We trying not to be playing. And for you to be doing this is very disrespectful. It's unfair. And the fact that the girl was okay with you coming on the show and knowing you were doing all this is kind of weird. It's very, very much weird. Like, who is this girl? And I know y'all already found her on the internet. There's pictures of her and all that. So I think somebody else, my sister has sent it to me, my DMs. But I'm like, girl, they exposed her. Ooh, they exposed her. So and they like, why you telling you gonna marry her then if it wasn't all this, right? And so Nick, he got on everybody about coming on the show for play and playing around, talking about, the whole entertainment of it all, what Sarah Ann said and what Trevor did. He said, you cannot be coming on Love is Blind playing. If you are doing that, we are going to expose you. You coming on Love is Blind with somebody already, we are going to expose you, okay? Oh, side note, before Laura got off the Zoom call, she did give another apology about the whole being did thing, y'all. Anyway, so Trevor said, he apologized to Chelsea and anything she wants to clear up, he'll clear it up with her. That's the only person he owes it to. He said there's no excuse for what he did. He said the girl's toxic. They're like, well, why you want to marry her? And then he said he's toxic too. He knows he needs to go to therapy. He needs to stop doing these things. I was like, Trevor seems a little off to me too. Was it just me? He's just a little off. I was like, what is happening here, Trevor? What is happening? Oh my goodness. He was like, they was getting into him so bad. He was like, can I leave? So then they got him a little bit more. And Jessica got into him and was like, why didn't you ever come to her defense? Like they was ragging on Chelsea on the internet. Like I even came for ceasefire for Jimmy. Like you could have all like saved this girl. Like, what is your problem? And so then, he apologized again. And then Nick was like, yeah, you say you want to leave, gone, Trevor. So Trevor left. I was like, ooh, child. I was like, they playing like that on this reunion, y'all. That was crazy. All right. So anyway, I think at the next point we did get to the whole AD and Clay segment. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. So they talked about another love triangle, but it was like with some of the old people, right? Anyway. But yeah, they talked, okay, let's talk about Clay and AD though. So they did the whole Clay and AD segment, and Vanessa was saying how this was such a hopeful couple and how was it watching it back. AD said it was really, really hard, really emotional. I will say Clay and AD's wedding was very, very emotional, right? Um, this whole segment I will say was good. I love the whole interaction between Clay and Brett, and we'll get to that in a second. Clay, they asked Clay why he made his decision. He just basically was, saying a bunch of stuff, saying how he just didn't feel like he deserved love, somebody like him, and if he could be the right man for AD, and AD did allow him, and he was there. She was there for him, but he just didn't feel like he deserved love, like he could do it, like he could be that man she needed, and he still loves her, and she's still the love of his life. And AD was going through so many emotions sitting there, and Vanessa pointed it out, and she even asked him. Well, Nick asked Clay, hindsight 2020, would he say make the same decision? I thought he said yes at first. I think he said no. But anyway, he said that he made a mistake. He should have said yes. And I don't think he made a mistake. I think that's how he felt. I'm glad he didn't say yes. Yeah, he probably could have handled it in a different way. He could have probably did it before the wedding, the way Jimmy did it to Chelsea, which they also didn't really, well, they kind of talked about that, but they didn't get into it the way I thought they would, right? But yeah, no, Clay didn't need to be saying yes just to say yes, right? And so AD said, she really tried. She would have gave everything to Clay. And so they asked AD, would she, be with him again? She didn't really answer. She said, next question, please. They asked Clay. He said 1,000%. And then they were like, oh, and then she was like, oh, and then she's like, no, you had your chance. Like, if you wanted to be with me, you could have been with me. And he's like, no, I do. I want to be with you to live my life. And she's like, then why are you not married to me now? He's like, no, I made a mistake. And I just didn't feel like I could be that guy. And I'm going through therapy now. I even tried out a few different therapists. And I'm really trying to be that man for AD, and I'm gonna put it in the work. All the stuff he's been saying. He seemed genuine. I think Clay is really, really trying. I think he grew from the process for sure. Don't think AD should ever take him back. Don't spin the block, girl. Do not spin the block. Do not. Do not. Do not. Do not. It don't ever work out to spin the block. In my opinion, people do it. Don't spin the block. Do not spin the block. Anyway, ain't nobody Ashanti and Nelly up in here. That's all I'm gonna say. So they asked about the whole conversation with Clay's parents, because that was like the most powerful scene of that episode, right? And so they asked how AD felt about it, and she said, that was telling for her. She said it put her, made it full circle for her, like put the missing pieces of the puzzle there for her, because she kept trying to figure out what was going on, what was missing, like what the issue was. And when she saw that, she's like, okay, now it all makes sense. And she was like, okay, I get it now, like why he, is carrying his parents' baggage. And she's like, respectfully, I didn't want to be another Clay's mom. She's like, I didn't want to end up like Clay's mom. I said, I know that's right. No shade to Miss Margarita, but we didn't want to be like that. Okay. She put in too many years and tears. Okay. That's right, AD. That's why don't you ever go back to that, Clay. Don't you ever. So they asked Clay about how he felt about it. And he said his family's still, healing and going through stuff. And it definitely was eye opener. And now he's learning that like he can't carry his family's baggage. And the same thing as what AD's mom said, that he has to let that go. But he said he kept having that self-sabotage. Like he could not let go. He knew that like he couldn't carry his family's baggage on his back, but he just had that self-sabotage in his head. Like he just couldn't let it go. And that's what prevented him from saying I do and moving forward with the wedding with AD. And the fact that he said he didn't deserve love, I would like to dig into that more. But anyway, Nick asked about the dad. He said, I know your mom said your dad needs to apologize to you about some of the experiences you had growing up. Did that happen? I already figured it didn't happen. Okay, because Clay's dad respectfully is an old fool, and he ain't gonna apologize for nothing. So in a long-winded, nice, I don't want to make my dad feel bad on TV way, Clay basically said no. Like basically he apologized in his own way, but like it sounds like Clay's dad doesn't have deep conversations with him, and that's kind of what Clay was saying, is like he ain't never gonna have a deep conversation with me anyway. So my dad is doing the best he got, and he's the best dad for me, and that's all I'm gonna get. And that's what we know is gonna happen, which is unfortunate, but that's what it is. I think until Clay's daddy can help himself, he ain't gonna help his son, unfortunately, right? And I need to know all them other brothers, his sons too, because that's horrible if they are. Because them boys have seen a lot. That's not right. That's not right. And I'm not saying Clay's dad's a bad person, but yeah, I hope they get the whole family can just get it together, y'all. It's really sad. They asked Nick asked Clay, when you said you watched Love Is Blind, who was the man you said that came on and prepared and sounded like they were ready to be a husband? Now, in my mind, I kind of figured it had to be Brett, and that's who it was, right? So Clay said, it's been documented. I've never watched Love Is Blind. He's like, don't be saying online in the social media streets, okay? So he said, Clay, AD's mom and AD and her mom basically sat down and they showed me season 4. Of course they did. They was like, let's show him an example of a black man, right? That did well on Love Is Blind, right? That married a black woman on Love Is Blind. So anyway, so he said, yeah, it was actually Brett. He just seemed like sure of himself. He sounded like he was confident. He sounded like a husband. And I was like, man, I'm not where he's at. I'm not, where I need to be right there. And it's just really hard. And he said, I know I sounded like a pessimist, and I probably shouldn't have said that, but just as a black man, he sounded, mature and ready to be a husband. He said, just as a man in general, he just sounded like he was ready to be a husband. And so he said, I just commend, the man he is. And so Brett said, he was really humbled by that, first of all. And he got emotional. He said, as a black man, just to hear that from another black man, that was really humbling for him. And he said he also didn't grow up with the best family background and experience with things his parents went through as well. And he didn't know how he would show up as a husband for Tiffany as well. And he said credit to Tiffany that she really opened up the space for him to step in that role and be confident in himself and who he could be, but he wasn't sure of himself as well, and he didn't know who he could be. And I'm glad Brett put it that way, because I'm sure Brett wasn't going into it thinking he was going to be the best husband, thinking he was going to be a good man or anything like that. Now, I think Brett probably has way more emotional intelligence than Clay does. And I think Brett really came on there for love. I think Clay was trying to fast forward through some other things he needs to deal with. Okay. I think Clay wants love, but I think Clay didn't realize how many other issues he needed to deal with. Right. And Clay said that, he felt like he was learning on the show as he was going, and he was, all of a sudden being diagnosed with someone who had father issues and red flags, and he said he'll take that. And I'm like, when he said that, I was like, but you said these things. We would not have known these things about you, Clay, if you didn't say it. You kept saying you had issues with seeing how your father treated your mother and your father taking you on these cheating trips. You kept saying, like, oh, I'm worried I'm going to cheat on you. I'm worried I'm going to cheat on you. What do you think that sound like? A bright red flag. So you were the one saying that. It wasn't nobody diagnosing you or saying that. You said it. Oh, that just killed me. So anyway, he said, he's glad that he could learn from the process, and he really is trying, and he hates that AD doesn't, think he's a good person or he's not trying. She's like, no, I do think you're a good person. And he's like, he just hates he couldn't be that person for her that he needed her to be, and all that stuff. It sucks, but I really did enjoy the moment between Brett and Clay. And Tiffany said that he does show up as a great husband for her, because they asked her as well, right? And I love me some Brett and Tiffany. Love them, love them, love them. Okay, they're like one of my favorite couples from the show. I like Cameron and Lauren too, but I like me some Brett and Tiffany as well. And Brett and Tiffany, we catch up with them. They've been doing a lot of traveling, and they are looking to buy a house in Portland. And I will be up in Portland soon, y'all. So if I run into anybody, y'all, I'll let y'all know. Y'all know I'll let y'all know. Anyway, and child, I don't know what it is to do in Portland. Y'all live in Portland, let me know in the comments and tell me what it is up there, okay? So anyhow, we also get like short little segments of talking to, so the audience, they had, audience questions, and the people from social media had questions, and the people from the audience had to ask them. And one of the questions asked was about Jessica's daughter. I think Chelsea asked it. Jessica's daughter, how does she feel about the show? Jessica gave a long-winded answer. and if she shows her the show. So she says her daughter never saw her cry before, so that was a powerful moment. She liked the show. Jessica's friends with Chelsea, and she says she didn't let her see all the episodes because she didn't want her to be like, well, who's Aunt Chelsea talking about? Like basically taint her view. So but she's seen some of the show basically. They also asked Jimmy, I don't remember who asked it, maybe Gianni or somebody, or Micah asked Jimmy how's the situation with his friend, because Chelsea exposed that whole situation with him sleeping with his friend. How did she was uncomfy. I think they made the uncomfy joke at that time too. So he said, his friend, one of the friends, is not happy with him now. It sucks that that situation happened. And they asked him, like, was that one of the defining moments of what made him not want to get married? And he said it was. They asked the cast, like, do they think that was wrong for Chelsea to share that? Even though Jimmy had told her about it, and then she went and shared it on camera. And I think most of the cast, they didn't agree with that decision. Chelsea says she apologized for it, and they've talked it out lots of times. Jimmy said, and they tried to work through it, but they just couldn't. But Chelsea does apologize, and she says she was in the moment. And Clay said, it wasn't right for her to do, but he's like, I get it. The camera's on you. It's kind of hard. And Chelsea says she honestly would forget the cameras are there. I believe Chelsea would forget the cameras are there. I believe that. And so she apologized for it. She didn't mean, to make anyone feel exposed or uncomfy or anything like that. They also talk about the conversation Jessica had with Laura at the bar about trying to still get with Jimmy. Jessica says that was one of her most not a good moment for her. She, doesn't make any excuses for it. Like basically she shouldn't have done it. And her and Chelsea are friends now. They're good friends now. We also find out later on that Micah and Jessica are also good friends. All right. I don't know how they became friends. I guess everybody from those blonde be, hitting everybody up and all that. Let's see what else happened. They also asked a question to no, I don't want to get to Kenneth and Britney. Let's talk about Jessica and Jimmy, then we'll get to Kenneth and Britney. So they asked Jessica and Jimmy if they were still friends. I believe the host asked. And Jessica said she thought they were friends, but until Jimmy did this interview where he said that Jessica walked out the pods from him. And she was like, okay, but you didn't tell me you didn't want me to leave. It was stupid. I didn't get their whole little segment. To me, they're arguing over nothing. It went on way too long. Then she was like, roll the tape. They showed the tape. She did walk out after 9 minutes. They took a little break, and he was saying, I guess she was saying something like, well, you didn't say I love you, and I was basically setting you up to say it. And he was like, why should I say I love you first? You didn't say it first. Like, I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Like, really. They asked Jimmy if he needed his EpiPen when he saw her picture. They were like, well, how did you see her picture? He's like, well, Jeremy showed it to me when we were working out. Jeremy's like, oh, yeah, I did. He tried to bring back up Bean Dip, and they were like, what? Anyway, yeah, that segment between Jimmy and Jeremy, and they're just hashing things out. And you could tell Chelsea looked so uncomfortable. She looked so uncomfortable, right? And I just understand that segment. They obviously still have something between them, in my opinion. It just went on too long. Like, I don't care who left the pod first. Like, at the end of the day, y'all not together. Jimmy and Chelsea not together. Like, who cares, right? Speaking of Jimmy, he caught a story earlier in the episode, right? I didn't want to miss this part. I got to go back. So when they played the segment with Laura and Sue Ann talking, right? And Laura was saying how Jeremy said that he felt bad about how he's going to look on TV now after the whole thing with him staying out all night with Sarah Ann, and now he going to look worse than Jimmy, right? And so Laura basically telling her that, like, he be saying all this stuff, but then he don't be doing it. He's not backing up what he's saying or doing, all this stuff. And so Sarah Ann's like, yeah, oh my gosh, I'm talking to him now. And like, I don't know. Like, are you sure you want to be with me? Like, what's going on? And so Laura's like, yeah, it looked like, girl, you trying to come to me for advice. That's exactly what it was giving. So anyway, Jimmy was like, dang, yeah, I caught the strays on that one. And so they were like, Jeremy's like, oh, I don't know what that had to do with Jimmy. Like, sorry about that. And so Jimmy's like, yeah, well, you were always saying stuff about me. And so Jeremy's like, well, I don't even remember saying that. So I don't know. And so Jimmy, too many J's, y'all. Jimmy's like, yeah, when we was in the pods, and I was up all day and all night trying to make my decision I had to make between Jessica and Chelsea. And Kenneth and all the men were supporting me, rallying around me. And Jeremy, you said I could sleep well at night knowing that I'm not the worst person on the show. Oh, I believe he said it. And so then he's like, okay, I didn't say nothing like that. Why would I say that? And then he's like, I'm not thinking about you like that. He's like, clearly you be thinking about me all the time. And so Jeremy did apologize. He said, if I say anything like that, I'm sorry I said it. Yeah, you said it. I believe he said it. Oh, I believe he said it. And Jimmy wasn't the biggest villain. I mean, Jeremy, you definitely were the biggest villain jerk of the show. Jimmy, I feel like Jimmy made his bed and lied in it. I don't feel like he was such a big villain of the show. Jessica said, she felt bad for how they did him, but Jimmy, he like he said about the whole Jessica thing, like, yeah, he thought Jessica was attractive, but once he was with Chelsea, he wanted to make that clear. To me, he didn't cross boundaries. The main issue I had with Jimmy is that he slept with that friend and it had that girl in Chelsea's face. Okay, but Chelsea exposed you. So anyway, but I thought Jimmy tried. Jimmy tried. At the end of the day, Jimmy tried. I feel like he was more genuine than Kwame was with Chelsea. And y'all let me know if y'all agree with that in the comments. Because I've seen Kwame and Chelsea up there, and I still don't believe Kwame genuinely wants to be with Chelsea. I still don't believe it. Anyway, I don't see it for them. I don't see it. I don't see it. Did I mention to y'all that Chelsea, because they checked on Chelsea and Kwame, they're doing good. They've been traveling, and now Chelsea has, because Kwame wanted to live a nomad lifestyle. They met, they went to Italy, Greece, Turkey, all these places. They get to go to DC and hang out with Kwame's family. So I guess the mama, Miss Barbara's good with her now. Or is that Barbara was a sister, huh? So anyway, and so now they get to live the nomad lifestyle that Kwame always wanted to live, because now Chelsea has been she received a new job where she's going to be helping the cast for Love Is Blind. Good for you, Chelsea. I got to ask my friend that works for Netflix if she's met her or anything. She doesn't work in the Netflix division, but she might have met her. Anyway, I mean, she doesn't work in the she works for Netflix, but not for the Love Is Blind part of Netflix. So she may have met her. I'm not sure. I got to ask her. Anyway, now let's talk about this whole Tiffany and Kenneth thing, because when they talked to Alexis about, is her name Alexa or Alexis? Anyway, I wasn't a fan of her either. Were they third season, fourth season? I can't remember. Anywho, I think they were third season. No. Yeah, they were third season. Yeah, third season. So anyway, they talked to them about about her being pregnant, and their fertility journey and all that. How they almost had to do IVF. So then they asked her, did you have any questions? You like to keep it spicy. She said she learned from her reunion not to do all that, but she did have a question for Kenneth and Britney, like if they would have just gone and had sex, would it have sparked something? And so Britney was like, finally we get our chance, and then we was like that too, girl. So she was like, no, even on the honeymoon, everybody kept saying that to her, but she, told herself before she went on the process she didn't want to do that, and that's just another thing, and she don't have to do it. I'm like, they don't want to have sex before they get married. Let them be, y'all. Like, chill out. So they got to the whole Brittany and Kenneth package, and they talk about how much Kenneth was on his phone. They said he must have been playing Candy Crush or looking at dolphins. And so Nick got into him. He was like, yeah, man, it seemed, a lot of viewers were saying, you seem like kind of cold when you ended things with Brittany. Like, it was very short, and you kind of like, gaslit her a little bit, people were saying. And I was like, yeah, that's what we said, Nick. That's what we said. He was very much gaslighting the girl. Now, to me, they didn't spend enough time in this, and they didn't hold Kenneth accountable. Now I will say they did not hold Kenneth accountable enough for me. So he said, no, everybody expresses their feelings in different ways. Now, first of all, Kenneth looked like he just left Sunday service. Okay. He just left morning prayer. Then they had 11 o'clock service. Then they had 3 p.m. anniversary service for the pastor and the wife. And that's where he just came from. That's what he was giving with his outfit. So anyway, he said, people express themselves in different ways, like, and they, have their emotions at different times. He said when he left the house, he left the house, he called Clay like, bro, what? Oh my God. He was all distraught. Sure. So anyway, I guess, he said, he went through it too. He felt something too. And so now Kenneth and Brittany are best of friends. They talk every day. She's met some of his school people. He said he was on his phone so much. He felt like he's trying to balance between her and his work life because he had been without his school because y'all know he is a principal. He had been without it for 3 weeks and trying to catch back up with the parents, the school, and the families. It must be a small school he principals at. I wonder what the numbers look like. But yeah, principal work is a lot of work. Y'all know I'm gonna try to go get my admin credentials. So I already know it's a lot of work. So I understand that of what he's saying, but he definitely was on that phone way too much. He definitely gaslit that girl, and they didn't get into it the way they could have with him. But now they're like good friends, and they talk all the time. And they asked him how are they going to navigate when they start dating other people. So they said they're starting to have that conversation. And I'm like, what's the point of y'all friends now? Like, I guess Brittany, you better than me, girl, because ain't no way I wouldn't be his friend. And so Vanessa commended them on how nice and loving they always spoke to each other. And she said, like, sometimes you could be married to somebody for a long time and you start feeling naggy. And she's like, yeah, and spicy. And so she said, she appreciated that, right? We also talk about the whole Matthew thing and how he was saying the same thing to AD and to Amber. So they played the segment. And he didn't say it like word for word verbatim, but he basically did say the same thing to them. And when they got done with the package, Vanessa was like, so do you feel like he said the same thing to you? And he was like, yes. Like, girl, did you watch what we just watched? And so, yes, he was basically saying the same thing. Like, let's leave the show and get away. And so AD said it was the thing about the dad that really got her because that was really sentimental. And she can't have her dad walking down the aisle when she gets married again and all this stuff. Or has another wedding. So she didn't get married. So they asked, had you seen Matthew since the past? So she said she did go on a couple days with Matthew, and Clay was looking at her crazy, and she's like, oh my god, he's beaming at me. And so she was like, Matthew kind of fine though, respectfully. And so I think she wanted to see what she wanted to crack the mystery of Matthew. So Clay didn't know she went on the date, so he said she told him. So she said he wanted to apologize for looking crazy on TV. And then one day he made her chicken and rice. I don't think it was hitting on nothing, no. And they just fizzled out. She said that his lifestyle is a little bit more structured than hers. Not that she don't have structure, but she's a little bit go with the wind kind of girl. And he plans out every single minute of his day. They continue to check in with, everybody else on the stage and how everybody's doing now, and the people in the audience and everything, whoever else they didn't get to, they checked on them as well. We find out Izzy is doing well. He's traveling and he fixed his credit, and he stood up, and I was like, sit down, Izzy, why are you there? Sit down. Yeah, do y'all think we're coming to the end of this? I think we covered all the major topics for sure, and even some of those little small funny details, but it definitely was a good reunion. Colleen and Matt said that Colleen's still doing her ballet. They finally moved in together. They said them not living together was very small thing compared to everything that's happening now with Love is Blind. And she said she would tell the people, like, if you're going through a tough time as a couple right now, like, you will get through it. You can come out on the end. Because y'all know what Colleen and Matt went through. I guess if they surviving, child, I guess. What was that? Was that season? Was that Alexis and Brendan's season with Colleen and Matt? Was that the same season? Season 3? I think it was the same season. Because I know that was this, I think, yeah, because that was the season with SK and Raven and them. Yeah. We was on the live going through all the seasons on Sunday anyway. Yeah, I think we talked about everybody though. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I think that's Matt and Colleen back there in my background right here. Yeah. And Alexis and Brennan over here, and Gianni. Gianni just looks so different to me. I don't even recognize her. This is weird they have some of the singles there. That was weird to me. Like Micah and Izzy. But I guess because they got to be on Perfect Match. And like I said, Jessica will be as well. But yeah, y'all, I think we'll just wrap this video on up. It's late. Y'all know I gotta go to bed. It's definitely getting late. Anyway, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments. I want to see y'all in the comments. Definitely let me know what y'all thought of this Love is Blind season 6 reunion. I will say it was a good season overall. I definitely will say that. I hate we didn't get more couples though. That's the part that sucks, but it definitely had a share of drama. Definitely good TV. The Clay and AD definitely told a good story. Definitely hit home for, I'm sure, our people. Our people. Like I said, I really love the moment, the black man moment that Clay and Brett had. And yeah, it was a pretty good reunion, y'all. It was a pretty good reunion. Finally, Vanessa and Nick learned how to do a reunion. Finally, y'all. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna go on to bed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to this video. Subscribe to the channel, please, y'all. I appreciate all of y'all support. And comment down below if I missed something that I forgot to talk about. It we could definitely get into it in the comments. Like I said, I want to know what y'all thoughts were of the season overall, as well as this reunion special. And then we'll talk to y'all again soon, probably for Ready to Love tomorrow. Oh no, Ready to Love is Friday, child. My mind already on Friday. Anyway, y'all, don't forget to like this video. Bye.